The final thing that I wanted to show you guys was how to create one of these math questions. Now this could work for other types of questions as well, but I have to insert images in here that the students can then select the correct option from. So each one of these is an image. And the way that I created these was using two different applications. Now Jose told me about one that is an add-on that works with Google Forms. I couldn't get it to work for mine, but if you go in the Chrome Web Store, this extension called EquatIO, if you were to add it in, it has the same function as the two that I'm about to show you. But there are some limitations to this application, and you have to apply as a teacher in order for it to work. Now I did that, and it worked for a little bit, and then it didn't work for me, but it might work for you. But if this doesn't work for you, or if you'd like to have a different option, then two other ones I use to create both of these types of effects the first one is an application to create equations like this that I can then insert in as an image. So what I did to create this was I use an application called CodeCogs, and this is on a website. So in here, I can use the different functions that they have here in order to create an equation here. And when I modify this equation, I can see what it's actually going to look like as an image down below. So if I were to write my equations in here, it's going to create an image for me that I can then download. And once I've downloaded that image in the form, if I press the image next to the question option or as a part of the question itself, I press the image button, press browse, and then you find wherever it was downloaded on your computer. And so I just downloaded this. So it's going to be in my downloads folder. I click on that option. And now I can see for this question, I added the image, so I can see x to the 6th power there. And I can say that that is option E, for example. And now I will have that there, just like I inserted an equation up here. And that goes for any type of question if you want to insert an image in. But for math, again, I used CodeCogs, and that allows me to create an equation to either for my question or to add options for a specific answer. The way that I added these graphs in was I used something called GeoGebra, GeoGebra.org, and you have to create an account here. But if you do this, then I can do the same thing, and I can add in a particular equation in here, and then I can have this graph either as, again, as the question itself, or as a possible multiple choice answer. And so when I'm done with this, and I've got the graph that I want to have, I can press on this share button, and I'll have a couple of options here, so I can copy the link if I want to. What I really want is to export that image. So if I export that image, it's going to look like this, which I think is kind of big, but it's going to look like this. I can download that, and then just as before, I can add in, let's say I want to add that image instead. I go to Browse, go to my downloads, it's right here. And I can insert that graph in as an image for this question. So I have that down there. I have the graph in there as one of the possible answers. However, if you look at what I have in there, it's kind of big. And so when you create these things, whether you're creating it here, an equation, or whether you're creating a graph, a shortcut that I have on Windows is to press Windows Shift S, and the Windows button looks like a little window. If I press Windows Shift S, then I have the option to select a particular part of the screen. And that's like a screenshot. So when I do that, it's going to save that to my clipboard down here. I click on that. And then in the upper right-hand corner here, I could write on this if I wanted to, but in the upper right-hand corner, I press Save. I decide where I'm going to save that. So let's say I save that in Pictures. And again, if I go to my form, say get rid of this, and for this question I add an image, I browse, this time I saved it in Pictures, it's right here under Annotation, so I press on that, and that's going to upload the image that I just screenshot that's a little bit smaller, well, a little bit closer to the actual graph, so it's not a huge graph with a small function in there. I can actually see it pretty well. So that's a way that I can either copy something that I've created here. Again, I can download this image if I want, But I can also, in the exact same way, do a screenshot here and select that, and then save it and upload it just like I showed you I did for the graph. And that's also useful because if you have a previous test that you already have digitally, you already have in Google Drive or on your computer, you can go on that quiz and look at a question you had previously. So one of your finals from last year, for example, you just need to screenshot the equation you're using for the question using the Windows Shift S, and you could just capture that specific equation and then insert it as a question or as one of the options. So that's a way that we can create math questions inside Google Forms, and that's the way that I created this question.